David 4040 here, making a ship's roster review for Raizo here. And what I'm going to do again, as I do for everyone, is basically suggest a general fleet setup, some directions that you should potentially look at farming, especially gear-wise, in terms of characters for ships. So, based off your current fleet, here's what I would do. I would have the TIE Advance and Biggs as two of your ships under a Chimera capital ship lead. Um, that I saw right off the bat as you have those characters geared 12. However, it was a little harder to come up with for your third ship. Now, the two what I see as normal third ships to go alongside these two are either the Ghost or the TIE Fighter. So the Ghost is good because the Ghost can put your TIE Advanced under stealth. TIE Fighter is good because it can dodge, giving your capital ship more turn meter. However, the problem I currently see with both of these ships is they both have undergeared pilots. You see Hera and Kanan here are both undergeared. For pilots, I recommend at least gear 11. Try getting them to gear 12 if they're in your main three, but at least gear 11. And these guys are definitely not there yet. I believe they're around like gear 8. And then your TIE Fighter pilots around gear 9. Now, you can put either ship in, I think, currently. I don't know what Ghost Speed is, but TIE Fighter is a pretty good ship. And so you can honestly probably go with either one. Now, the one you choose to go with, I would say you need to gear up the pilot for that ship. Again, ships is very fantastic. You can get crystals out of it. The problem is, in order to get the crystals out of it, you have to invest. And overall, you can watch my other video I made on it, but I believe ships is more free to play friendly because the meta changes less often. So if you go with either one of these, I think you'll be in a very happy spot. On top of that, if you go with the Ghost, Ghost is going to go with one of the top reinforcements. I suggest you start leveling up and gearing the characters in. But before I get into that, let's just get into some general reinforcements I want you to currently use. I think the Scimitar is a great one. You currently have Darth Maul leveled up to gear 11, which is great. You especially want to use Darth Maul if you use TIE Fighter Pilot, because Darth Maul puts everyone under set TIE Fighter Pilot, who can hopefully get some dodges off of that, giving your capital ship more turn meter. Either way, since it's one of the higher geared characters you have at the moment, and it's overall a decent reinforcement, you probably want to go ahead and use it. It's not the best reinforcement in the game, but he works. Slave 1 is great. You do need to gear Boba Fett more, which is great because you probably need Chewbacca. So gearing up Boba Fett should not hurt in that quest to get Chewbacca at all. And on top of that, you'll get a great all-around reinforcement. Slave 1's just kind of plug and play when it comes to reinforcements. There's certain reinforcements that are better on certain squads. Slave 1's just, I would say, a plug and play reinforcement. On top of that, I think First Order TIE Fighter, based off what you currently have, is good. Ahsoka Tano's Jedi Starfighter can be good. I've personally never messed around with Kylo Ren's command shuttle or haven't seen much on it, so I don't know how good of a reinforcement that would be. But Poe Dameron can be good, especially if you see a lot of TIE Fighters in the arena, as he's kind of an anti-TIE Fighter ship, but you need to get him up to 7 stars. So just try to go for some of the ships you have 7 stars with higher gear currently for reinforcements, I would say. Poe Dameron maybe being the lowest down. A ship that I think you need to focus in on is Phantom 2. Phantom 2 is an excellent reinforcement. If you want to go ahead and plug in as a reinforcement, might as well. But if you're going to do that, you need to what you do. You need to have the reinforcement ability all the way up. And since you do, go ahead and start using that, because with Covert Strike, you have it on reinforcement. It reduces reinforcement cooldown by 1, and then the next turn you can immediately bring in another ship. And again, if you have the Ghost out there, Phantom has some good synergies with the Ghost. Now, if you're using both the Ghost and Phantom, here's what I suggest doing. Double down on your Phoenix, gear them all up to at least gear 11. Ezra is good in the overall Jedi meta, so that's not going to hurt you there. These characters are all going to be used in territory wars and territory battles. Again, they do not hurt to have these characters up. So I would just focus down on these characters and get them up. Do what I'm starting to do, and do faction focuses and get these guys up, because if you have one overall faction up, you have a good team together to use in various parts of the game. They can also do an okay amount of damage in some of the raids as well. So it will not hurt to gear these guys up at all. So that's what I would do, is focus down on these characters, get them up to gear 11, so that you have a good Ghost and Phantom that can do massive damage. The Phantom on his maximum impact ability here, which you need to gear up Ezra so you can level up more, can do up to 80 to 100,000 damage if you have the ship leveled up. So use Phantom 2 and try to gear up those characters some more. I mentioned Boba. He needs more gear as well. Let's see, what else in ships can you improve on? 7-star your Poe, that takes a while. TIE Reaper, if you're looks like you're starring Shore Trooper, which means just make sure you finish off TIE Reaper as you're doing that. If you want to prepare for future metas and ships, the two things you need to prep for are Bounty Hunters and Geonosians. Now, I don't want to focus a long time on this, as most people aren't really interested in doing this, especially since Geonosians aren't as great in other areas of the game. However, if you do want to do good in the future of ships, these ships currently are going to be necessary. Especially Sunfac. Sunfac can be a good reinforcement if you have him, since he's a tank, and it helps to have at least one tank reinforcement. I just didn't really suggest any because you didn't have any good ones currently leveled up. I think Phantom 2 is the closest I suggested to one, since it can taunt. But the Geos are great. They are the current meta in the game for ships. They can make great defensive fleets and territory wars, and you'll just blow out of the water. The team I suggested to you earlier can easily be beat with Geos. I've just recently geared up my Geos to gear 12. I'm starting to be able to get past. It's still a little hard, but it's easier than it was with Geos. On top of that, Houndstooth with Geos makes the Geos even better. He's often used as tank alongside them, but overall the Bounty Hunter ships are just good, and they can fight alongside the meta as well. Now, most of them are not farmable yet, but you can go ahead, start farming the characters and gearing up the characters. And on top of that, again, you need Bounty Hunters to get Chewbacca, so you might as well go ahead and focus and gear them up to at least gear 11. Gear 11 is what I suggest for ships. Also, let me just take a look at a couple of these lesser characters I've suggested to you and make a point that I make to everyone. Just make sure, especially on ships characters you're using, that you have 5 level 15 mods. It can help to go ahead and upgrade them to gold, but it doesn't help too much, so I won't worry about that. But just make sure on the characters you do use that you have their mods 5 level 15. Like these 2 mods right here, these 3 could be leveled up all the way 15. It helps. Again, you can put junk mods on these characters. It does not hurt. And then finally, I'll just tell you some other good ships to kind of focus down on and look at and think about for the purpose of reinforcements and just creating more fleets for yourself in the future. Both the U-Wings, Cassian's U-Wing and Bastanju Wing are really good. Bastanju Wing can be used in the place of Thai Advanced. Um, the characters aren't the best, I'll give you that, but the ship itself is great and definitely has long term durability in the game. Cassian G-Wing is also very useful, and Rogue One is required for parts of territory battles, so it doesn't hurt there if you ever decide that you want to level up these guys. Um, some other ships that you could look out for. Plo Koon is a decent ship. He can be used in the place of Scimitar, and he can be very annoying. On top of that, with your capital ships here, you do not have Chimera 7 star yet. So I would work on getting your rebel ships to a point where you can finally 7-star Chimera, uh, including, I believe you need a 7-star your home one in order to 7-star Chimera. So do that. 7-star home one so you can 7-star Chimera. Since Chimera is the best capital ship in the game and you're using it. I saw earlier that you have one of your Zetas on Thrawn, which is excellent. Uh, I only really suggest putting the second Zeta on there if you want a little bit of a speed advantage on everyone else. I believe it gives you like +1 speed, but that can help you out. On top of that, if you just notice everyone else doesn't really have 1 or 2 Zetas on their Thrawn yet, that may give you less need to need that second Zeta on there for the speed. Just kind of pay attention where your arena is at the point. I'm personally currently thinking about putting Zetas on Tarkin just so that I can be able to compete with the other Tarkins and maybe give myself an advantage in other areas of ships that everyone else around me doesn't. But work on just getting that 7th star in Chimera, which requires having the Phantom Ghost and 3 other Rebel ships, which you have the Rebel ships for. You must just be waiting on home one. But again, if you gear up your other Phoenix characters, it will definitely ensure you get Chimera next time around. Can I think of anything else? Not really. If you do notice that there's a character that Zeta is helpful for that you want, feel free to go ahead and do it. Like, you're not good in Rancor, inspiring through fear can still be helpful there. Maybe not on auto, but I think that's about it. Again, for your main fleet, I suggest TIE Advance with Biggs with a combo of either TIE Fighter or Ghost. If you have Ghost, your goal is to stealth TIE Advanced. If you have TIE Fighter, your goal is to just be constantly regenerating the protection on Biggs. And then you want reinforcements of Phantom, Scimitar, Slave 1, and either like First Order TIE Fighter, Poe Dameron, or Ahsoka's Jedi Starfighter, just whatever works for you. These all bring in different things. First Order TIE Fighter brings in damage. Poe brings in damage and is good against TIE Fighters. Ahsoka brings in a Dispel. And there's plenty of other good ships that if you had them leveled up, like TIE Reaper, that could potentially be added in there as well. Again, with reinforcements, it's more just messing around, see what works best with you, and then what holds on defense. And if you are able to get a good tank with a taunt in there, that's another good thing to maybe focus on trying to do. Anyhow, I hope these tips helped you, Raizo. I hope you start improving in ships. It's a great resource for people in the game who take advantage of it. Talk to you later. If you have any questions, message me in Discord. Bye.